Okay, there we go. So Omcast is up.
Omcast.
Blue Sky Live is up. Substack is up. PeerTube is up.
So you're going everywhere. PeerTube.
Yes.
Substack.
And there's the live post.
There we are.
And the altar is up. And then let me get this. There we go. Okay, so the minute Substack's up. All right, Substack's up now.
Yeah, Substack's up.
Okay, good. We're in play. We have 4 people. Yay. Yeah, we have 4 people.
Come on, come on.
Yeah, come everybody. Everybody come.
Everybody come. Come one, come all. Whether it be at the same time or different.
That sounds really sexual. I'm just.
Aaron Reed just came out with another article. Did it come out today? 12:51. Investigations into 36 Illinois school districts over bathrooms and books.
Oh, I published that in the digest today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. That's the third part of the shit that hurts.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that because I wish Miranda were here because 2 of the people that I mentioned in today's digest are people she would know. And so when Miranda does not appear, especially when I use people that she doesn't know, it is sort of sad. All right, so we'll just go right into it. Welcome everybody to another show of What Survives the Morning. I'm Wendy, the publication maven. My co-hosts Sarah and Kira and Onyx, and may the 4th be with you, who is really just Brandon and is the gayest person that I know. Just to check in before we start, how is everybody doing? Everyone, we're all good?
All good. Woo.
Oh, you're actually wearing a Star Wars shirt today, Brandon. I think that's.
And earrings, though you can't really tell about the earrings.
Oh, but they're cute though, right?
Well,
are they?
They're BB-8 earrings.
Oh, they're BB-8.
BB-8.
Okay. BB-8 earrings are interesting, but anyway, okay, great. So I will just go right into it, and so going right into it means having to admit that we're on the precipice. While going to war with Iran, we are now about to actively go into war with Cuba.
Yes.
And I said this in Friday's live session, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but Marco Rubio is the one that's pushing this?
Right.
He's Cuban, right? I mean, okay. This is the Uncle Tom thing all over again, right? I mean, it's not just me. So yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, let's talk about the other thing, which is Trump's approval rating is now lower than it has ever been in either of his 2 terms. So collectively, like 72% of America thinks he's handling the economy incorrectly. 68% of America thinks that he is handling the war in Iran incorrectly. And then 62% think that he is managing collectively, both of them together with all the other shit that he's doing. So it's a 62% collective disapproval rating, which is the highest that it's ever been for him in any fucking term. Thank you, sound effect Brandon.
I can go ahead and hit the sound effects.
So let's put this into perspective. The fecal tongue empire god has lost the room.
Fecal tongued empire.
Yes, which is when these motherfuckers get even more dangerous. So the same Friday, the disapproval numbers cratered. The obscene ass buffoon told a Florida crowd that he would be taking over Cuba almost immediately. So there's an aircraft carrier already parked just outside Cuba. He signed an executive order before lunch, and now we're in what would appear to be two active, but now maybe two active and one inactive constant war. Because we're at war with Iran, we were at war with Venezuela, we're going to prosecute Maduro, and now we're going to attack Cuba.
Well, it's all distract. You know.
Yeah.
What? that's all it is.
I want to know, when are the Epstein files going to get released?
That's what it is. It's distract. Let me throw this out. You know, I saw a video. It was a reel, and it was from 2019. It was this lady screaming, "They eat babies in a foreign language." She was distraught, and they took her away. And I don't know if she disappeared, but like you can find her name online. Just really strange shit. Like, I can't get over it. I'm sorry. Let me just back off of that.
Oh, okay. So right, I like, how the fuck did we get here? Or why the fuck did we get here? You know, shit pants asswaddle basically claimed in Florida that he has won the issue of affordability, but is insisting that the inflation that we're experiencing right now is only temporary because of the Iranian war. Meanwhile, gas is up to $4.55 a gallon because petroleum per barrel is almost at $140 a barrel now.
It's $5 a gallon here.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's in the low fours here. Brandon, what's it like in Kansas?
It's I last time I think it was like 380 something. Maybe it was not just below 4.
Just below.
I wonder what it's like in Cali and the Pacific Northwest area.
Yeah, Marnie, I don't even fucking know. One of our Substack people asked that question. So I went into today's trauma pretty well fucked over. The Rockford thing, though, that was huge. So a teacher in Rockford pulls a copy of Heather Has Two Mommies from a classroom shelf, holds it against her chest, and decides to leave it there. She won't take that book out of the classroom. And the Justice Department has just announced that she might be a federal civil rights problem.
Like a big old problem.
Yeah. So the DOJ has opened a civil rights investigation into 36 Illinois school districts over how schools handle lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity. The probes examine whether the districts gave parents proper opt-out rights or not from what the administration is calling sexual orientation and gender ideology brainwashing. So, you know, the pus-filled charlatans, the Department of Justice has now decided that the existence of a queer family in a children's book is a civil rights violation. That's fucked. That's completely fucked. I do not get how that's not fucked. I mean, I just don't. Lambda Legal, the ACLU, Equality Illinois have already indicated that they're going to file suits against the administration if they do this, but who really suffers here? The kids. The kids suffer here. And that's really the hard part. And so, do we all know who Jericho Brown is?
Poet?
Yes. So Jericho Brown was born in December 14th of 76 in Shreveport, Louisiana. He got his Bachelor of Arts from Dillard University and his Master of Fine Arts from the University of New Hampshire. And then he's basically spent a career being an extensively well-approached poet. His debut book was a book called Please in 2008, which won the American Book Award. The New Testament he wrote in 2014 won the Ansfield Wolf Book Award. And then The Tradition, which is the big one, that basically cracked everything open. And he took like 3 awards for that one. He is a MacArthur Fellow, and he teaches at Emory University here in Atlanta. And so, yeah, the quote is, he says that I begin with love, hoping to the end there. I don't want to leave a messy corpse, because none of us wants to do that. And so what you say, or what you draw from that inference, is that the teacher in Rockford has been there before. So has the librarian. So is the 8th grader who keeps a flag in their locker. And the DOJ probe is not a new instrument. It's an old instrument dressed in fresh paperwork. People that went through the civil rights era in the 60s and 70s would tell you that this is exactly what the fuck happened. We're just repeating history over again, just at a different class of people. And surviving the last hunt is not the same as being safe in the next hunt. And so today's question bag is, what have you witnessed this week? And so what did I witness this week? This week past, I witnessed people not giving a shit. Whether it be in public spaces where I was at the time, or, opening up the fucking news, which I'm sick of reading, honestly, at this point. On Friday, I witnessed our president announce that we're going to take control of yet another country that we have no fucking business taking control over. And why? Does Cuba have something that we want? No. I just can't imagine that Cuba has vast natural resources that Trump wants to rape out from under the people of Cuba. I think it's just a vendetta in his mind that, Cubans tried to attack America back in the 60s during the Bay of Pigs, Cuban Missile Crisis situation. And so in an attempt to distract everybody from all the shit that he's doing, he's going to start another war because all the neocons around him say that's a problem. So, Sarah, what did you witness this week?
I've witnessed very little. I've been a bit preoccupied.
Oh, you've been preoccupied? Have you finally met your people? Really?
I don't know. Kirsten, you want to answer that?
Wait, Kirsten's in the room?
I don't know, Isabella, have we?
I think we have, yes. For a week.
For a week?
Yeah, for almost a week. And you wrote about it too,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, was a love letter that I found completely amazing. That should be a shock to nobody. I don't understand why that would be shocking, but maybe. So you want to talk about it, Sarah?
I mean, the thing that I was mostly preoccupied last week with is all the driving back and forth to my sister's because of how much she needed help.
Why does she need so much help?
Well,
Well, you can talk about that.
Yeah, it's just mainly like lack of support from her son's father.
Oh, Doug, you mean? He's such a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, what did you witness this week? Or did you witness anything?
Well, I'm kind of in a boat with Sarah. I've been preoccupied with my own stuff and just, yeah, I haven't been out in the world much.
Well, I mean, you have a live with Stirs, though, right?
Yeah, we have one every Tuesday, and I've got one later this week that I was going to talk about sometime. I was going to save that till the end when you asked if there's anything we want to, promote or etc. I'll be on with Onyx Rose later today, I believe, right?
Right.
Oh, you guys are doing a show? What are you doing a show about?
With Sturge, and I am not exactly sure, which is kind of a problem.
Nobody knows.
Not 100% sure, yeah.
So you're doing multiple shows with Sturge a week, Brandon?
Well, we've been going with Onyx Rose like every other week or something like that.
Every other week.
Every other week. Every other week.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I from a new show announcement, after talking in our paid subscriber chat or whatever, Wednesday night at 8:00 Eastern, we're going to host Activity Night, which will start out as Jackbox Games Night. If you're a Jackbox Games fan, then you should come play Jackbox games with us. From that space, because because Jackbox games are just fun and exciting, and a different change of pace for the middle of the week. But then too, that gets me into doing a third show, and the rest of us doing a third show. During the week. I think that's a positive thing. So, Kirsten, did you experience anything last week?
Lots of bigotry, just about assholes. People feeling like they need to share their views and just be nasty. I'm tired of it. It's like ever since, and I know we said this before, but ever since Trump got elected, a second term, and it feels like people are just emboldened to just be awful people. And that should not be the case.
Oh, you mean like that time we took our kid out for a drink because of his 21st birthday?
Yeah.
And just the entire time people were, Duluth is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah, there's that, and just online too, just people just being assholes.
I mean, can people stop being assholey? I mean, really?
They can, but I don't think they will.
Or they really want to. That's the thing.
Yeah, psychology 101 joke. How many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb has to be willing to change.
Hmm.
You know, that's a thing.
I can tell you a trans joke. How many trans girls does it take to screw in a light bulb? And it's none or one. Just tell her she's pretty and she'll light up the whole room.
That's great.
So, going back to, Onyx, did you witness anything?
I've had the pleasure this last week and a half or so, maybe 2 weeks, of watching Egg flourish into her art again. She gets buried and bogged down in work so much, but she's picked up stained glass making, and it's truly a sight to see her back in her artist ways. She's a true artist, so to see her expressing herself through art is amazing, and that's what I get to witness.
Nice. What is she primarily artistry?
So she's doing stained glass working right now. She did glass fusion maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, but she's primarily working in stained glass.
Nice.
She does painting and everything, crochet, crafts.
Nice.
A lot.
Yeah. I think that artistic expression is still, there's not enough of it.
Right.
There's not enough people who are contributing positivity in emotional expression. And you set that up for the next stage of the discussion. And so, Sarah Waters, do we all know who Sarah Waters is? I'm going to assume no. So in Sarah Waters' case, she's a Welsh female who was born in '66. And she's basically spent her career doing what all historical novelists do, dragging the past into the room and then making it seem real. She earned her doctorate in politics and on the politics of Victorian pornography.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which is the kind of thesis topic that separates the merely curious from the truly obsessed. Also, too, I did not know there was such a thing as Victorian pornography. Her novels, Tipping the Velvet, Affinity, Fingersmith, The Night Watch, The Little Strangers, The Paying Guest, they all return again and again to the lives of women who love women. So her novelizations are decidedly very sapphic in nature. Fingersmith shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2002, which remains like the classic. Like if you're going to read Sarah Waters, Fingersmith is the book you're supposed to read, and then it encourages you. Kirsten is nodding to this effect. Yeah, you want to read that. And so the Fingersmith, it's a Victorian con job story that pulls the rug right out from under you at least once, if not twice.
Oh, awesome.
She's won the Betty Trask Award. She's won the Somerset Amalgam Award, the South Bank Show Award, you know, and Author of the Year 4 separate times. You know, basically Stonewall named her Writer of the Decade in 2015. And
wow.
she received, she was given the OBE in 2019. And so,
Oh.
so her line is: lies require commitment, vigilance, faithfulness to detail, perpetual, unrelenting work. And so, what that tells us is what the body knows. The lie of the administration is breaking under its own weight. They can distract, they can attack, they can maim, they can kill, they can do whatever the fuck they want. But it's just piling up, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And that weight has finally reached a point where it's starting to bring down belief in that system. And the breaking point won't be quick or clean. 62% is a real number. That we're right at literally 2/3 of the nation think this is fucked and we need to stop. And so, you know, I published a story about the whales. If you did not know this, and I thought this was actually really kind of cool, is that Wellington, New Zealand, a Green Party member walked into the House of Representatives and introduced a bill called the Tahora Orange Bill, which basically assigns legal personhood to whales that live in the Pacific Ocean in an attempt to stop people like Japan, being one of them, from whaling, because Japan still commits whaling operations, which is bullshit. That's huge. You know, that bill would shift whales from exploitable natural resources to a right-bearing entity. And so...
does that give people the right to kill whales for, you know, food, so on and so forth, clothing? No, so nothing. Just
nope.
They are their own entity, and nobody can touch them.
Yep.
That's good. That's how it should be. You know. It's
as a druid, that's very painful for me to watch.
Right.
You know, to watch that happen. It's just super painful. And there's no way for me to compartmentalize dealing with it. You know, what does survival look like? You know, in your body tomorrow, the day after. You know, for me, survival is connecting with the people that I love. Because if I don't connect with the people that I love, then I feel alone. And when I'm alone, that is a very bad experience. It involves panic, and it involves a copious amount of illicit substances, and it also involves an illicit amount of chemical substances, clonazepam being one of them. Because if I feel alone, then I can't function. You know, so my survival is to be connected with the people that I love and the people that I care about. And so, speaking from my pain point, this is a pain point, is I have a child Gizmo, who I am very disconnected from. And that relationship is profoundly difficult for me because I want to believe that I did the things that I was supposed to do as a parent. And those things would basically grant me the privilege of having a relationship with her, and I don't. I barely have a relationship with her, and it just hurts. And I'm not going to say this all the way, because if I say it all the way, I'll start crying, and then that'll be it. But it's like Silverstein's book, The Giving Tree. You give and you give and you give and you give. And you reach a point where there's nothing left. And all you want to do is be with that person. I don't get that. And so that's hard for me as a person. See, already doing it. Do that. So for me, survival is feeling that connection with others, because if I don't have it, I don't make it. I don't survive it. Brandon, what does survival look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I do need some connection. A lot of my life I've kind of pretended like I didn't need that. It's more independent. But yeah, it definitely helps to have people that support you. I wanted to go back to the whales for a second. So,
Okay.
who's doing who passed the law?
They're in the process of passing in New Zealand, Wellington, New Zealand.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
So the
That's
rest of
not
the world
something. That's not something Trump would ever do. Trump would say kill more whales and get more of their shit.
Well, it sounds like the rest of the world is humanizing whales, and we're dehumanizing trans people.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
And queer people, no less.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the Department of Justice saying that Daddy has a roommate and Helen has two mommies aren't books that a child should read is just bullshit. It is just core bullshit. There's Eileen in the chat. Hi, Eileen. It's been a long time.
Come on, Eileen.
I know, like she's never heard that before.
I know, it just popped in my head. First thing.
But so that's what survival looks like for you, Brandon. It's just, I mean, what gets you up every day?
My cats. I mean, they wake me up. But as far as motivation goes, I guess just trying to earn a living, get up and go to work, and
Grindstone.
yeah.
Grindstone. Kirsten, how do you survive?
Well, I also feel that a lot of that is based around relationships. That is a lot of what keeps me going, staying connected. Because also being alone, solitary is very depressing. So having the relationships, having family, those definitely help keep me going. It's one of those old adages of like being with the people you love is what carries you forward.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Onyx, survival.
Yeah, survival. I had an answer and I forgot it. Survival. Well, I don't know. It takes a lot of drugs for me to get out of bed. And I know a lot of drugs for me to go to bed. So I don't know. Survival is a daily thing. I wake up, I decide what I'm going to do if I'm going to survive, how I'm going to spend my time. I am an isolationist by nature, so I tend to not hang out with a lot of people, and that has cost me some friends and some in real life friends. But I trade that by having relationships online that tend to take and bridge over the issue of not having people in real life. So it helps me to stay in my little safe cocoon while I am in manic states. But while also reaching out to people and having people also reach out to me. So yeah, every day is a struggle, but it's a struggle that I look forward to.
You were talking about that a little bit with Samantha Page last night, I think.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you're doing shows with Samantha Page.
Yeah, I sat in on her show yesterday. I've actually talked to her 3 times now. But her show was her person was not able to make it, and hit me up.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about ad hoc and invites into a show, I think that's brilliant. Sarah, survival.
How do I survive? I would say
A
once.
shit ton of weed.
Yeah, your shit's out of weed. See.
At one point, I would say that I was very much like how Brandon was describing, where I would actually kind of recuperate with just being on my own, focusing on like my garden and starting my plants and canning and things like that. All my hobbies. But I feel like things have shifted in the past almost year and a half, where I don't crave that isolation anymore. There's nothing overly positive about being solitary at this point. So yes, being able to connect with loved ones, friends, family, and planning. Yeah.
Planning.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot coming up in terms of things that I need to manage with like the house and my ex.
Those are things that, I mean, yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
I think survival takes a certain amount of facing one large hurdle at a time as best we can.
Well, I think that dealing with that is at core, how you deal with that and how you process that is key. I think that's important. Survival is hard. So that leads into the third of today's topic points. Carl Phillips, again, another poet. he says, I want to be alive in a way that the dead would recognize us as living.
Hmm.
So there are people who survive by going still, and there are people who survive by burning out. And most of us, I do both, one of the either or the other. It depends on the week. Today asked us to hold on to a 62% disapproval rating against federalized shit that's going to hurt third graders. Hold on to the fact that a country has actually taken steps to make a whale a real person. The practice is not choosing the right response. The practice is staying recognizable to yourself. I hate quoting V for Vendetta, but you wear a mask for so long, you lose sight of, and you even forget who you were beneath the mask to begin with.
I quote the hell out of that shit. Go ahead. Shit.
And so that begs the question, what are you willing to keep doing even when you no longer think it's working? And from my perspective, showing others care, showing others honesty. When I get on the train and there's somebody there and they look cute or whatever, that's a really cute dress.
See,
that looks really good on you. I run the risk 80% of the time of that person, making some transphobic, comment or whatever. I don't give a shit. It's more important to be kind to people, to me personally, than it is to worry about what their reaction is going to be, or how they're going to react to a situation, or how they're going to behave. So in Carl Phillips' case, he won the 2023 Pulitzer Prize for poetry. And he'd been writing books since the late 60s. He's a person of color, and he's queer, and he's classically trained. And he writes in a syntax that feels like watching someone think, and that's a positive experience. And so the thing that I am willing to keep doing is to keep transparency and honesty with people around me, as much as to keep caring and focusing on that caring to others. Be that somebody that I don't know in one case versus someone that I love and care about in another. Kara, what are you willing to? Sorry, Kirsten, what are you willing to do even when you think it's no longer working?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I guess in a way, trying to form relationships with people who might be resistant to some extent in various ways, trying to keep existing friendships, relationships active, and also always trying to talk to my kids, even though they're
Wendy, you just muted.
Wendy.
Gosh, sorry, I went mute. I apologize.
F-.
F-.
Yes.
Well, you talk about our kids
Yes.
and those challenges. I mean, certainly, at the very least, our challenges with two of our kids are not the same challenges that I had with one of our kids.
That is correct.
Um, and I think there should be a security in that.
There is. It's the kids are at a very delicate stage where they're transitioning from being teenagers where they start going into adulthood, and that's an adjustment on their part. And so it takes a lot of love and care from us to try to guide them the best we can. They might not be receptive to that. They might not want it. They might even push back and rebel. But we still try to push forward that anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Onyx, what are you willing to keep doing even if you know it doesn't work anymore?
One of the things, well, the thing you said, Wendy, honoring beauty in people and things. I do this quite a bit. I will tell a person if I find something beautiful within them, in them, or about them. Like you said, it's best to go ahead and say it. You never know when people are having a bad day, and you never know when it just needs to be that one compliment or that one nice thing for them to end up having a good day. And I have a perfect example. There was this guy who was talking about his trans daughter and how he was mistaken because she came out to her school class before him, and he was upset. But his wife was like, you're missing the assignment here. She's coming out where she feels comfortable. And so later she came out to him, and it was this really great story. And I was having a shitty day. I was having a lot of racism and bullshit on Substack. And, I told this guy that it was a, really touching story. And, that ended up to us having a couple lives together. Being kind is how I like to put my energy out there. Yeah, it's a little chaotic. It's it's a little chaotic, but kindness is how I do it. I like to bleed my soul, and that's a crazy way to say it, but I like tackiness. But yeah, beauty.
Nice. Sarah, what are you willing to do, even if you think it doesn't work anymore?
I don't know that what came to mind really fits the scenario that you're talking about.
Say it anyway.
Some interactions that I've had recently specifically with my ex, have kind of tested who I am emotionally and how I interact with the world, and have made me want to be petty, maybe do things that would be a little bit more passive aggressive, but I have maintained my composure and my morals and not done the petty thing, whether it makes any difference or not.
I think there's a place for pettiness in the world. Seems like there's a negative connotation to that word, and I feel like there is moments where pettiness is okay. Last week Trump announced that anybody who says anything negative that says that the U.S. is losing the war in Iran is guilty of treason. So I used one of my backup accounts to go out to Twitter and post it on Twitter. Fuck you, we're losing the Iranian war, you're an idiot. Come get me for treason, motherfucker. If you're going to arrest people for free speech, then there's no such thing as free speech.
Was there ever really?
Huh?
Was there ever really free speech?
Yeah, I would say so.
When?
Well, I like when the Supreme Court ruled that burning the American flag was not or was protected by free speech. That was actually pretty huge. That happened back in the 80s, though.
I don't know that black people have had like free speech in that way, sense, and shape and form. No, yeah,
No, I
it's-
no. Yeah. At its core, person of color trust in the system, interaction in the system, and function in the system has been not, for the entirety of the 250 years we've been a country, has not been positive.
Right.
There's certainly humor in this, but it's true. Over the weekend, I was scrolling through social media and I found a Key and Peele video where a guy had like a woman and then Key and Peele in his office, and he was like, okay, I just want to make sure that the material that I have for this meeting is not racist and not misogynistic and not homophobic in any way whatsoever. And so I want you to raise your hand if what I am about to say feels like it would offend you. And then immediately all three of them raise their hands. Wait, I haven't even started yet. And so the woman says, yeah, I object to a man telling me that I have to wait to raise my hand. And then the Key, he raises his hand and he goes, yeah, black power. You don't like that, do you? And then Peele is like raises his hand and goes, yeah, like this is my gay hand and it's flapping around and you don't like that either, do you? But here's the thing. For a person of color, it's true. The body of the existence of the United States in the last 250 years has been hugely misogynistic and hugely xenophobic to persons of color and hugely, everything else to every other kind of person who is not white. And so the whole white privilege thing, like, I don't get these idiot MAGA fuckers that are like, oh, my white privilege is in danger. You've had your fucking white privilege in this country for 250 years. You need to sit down and shut the fuck up, and you need to give it to somebody else. Because it's bullshit. I mean, just bullshit at its core. It's just crap. So, yeah, if you have a voice, you should use it. You have the right to be petty. So, Sarah, I say to you, as Isabella, and as a person who cares about you, I think it's okay to be a little petty. Little petty. Fine.
Definitely be petty. People need some pettiness.
I mean, Kirsten, do you disagree with me?
Well, I guess it depends, because the thing is when you talk about the scenario that Sarah's in, you talk about being petty, or you talk about being passive aggressive. The last thing you want to do is invite more of that back from the other person. So every action has a reaction from a scenario. So if you don't want to, I guess in the way it's kind of like we talk about free speech also. If you don't want to face the consequences of your actions, then don't do it. And if you don't know what those consequences are, then maybe you don't do that. It's just.
Here's
Wise
the
words.
thing. I'm gonna fascinate you with an inalienable druidic fact, and it is a fact that none of you can argue with whatsoever. And I've said this before. So you ready for this? Here you go. You want to learn something? Learn something right here. There is no right and wrong. There are choices that people make, and those choices have consequences. And it is whether or not you can deal with the consequences for the choices that you make. Is it wrong to commit murder? Sure.
Yep.
If you kill somebody, there are consequences. Those consequences are you are either going to lose your life or you are going to spend the rest of your life in a 3x3 box. But
they let you off.
Right. Yeah. Or if you're OJ Simpson, he just lets you off.
Right.
Right. If you're OJ Simpson, they just let you off, and then later you commit another crime that ends you up in jail, and that's all it is. But regardless, right and wrong, good and bad, really no. I mean, it's you're making choices, and do those choices have consequences? Yes, they do. Can you deal with that? And so a friend of mine who was an alumni at one of the schools that I went to, became a Catholic priest. And I looked at him one day and I just asked him, I'm like, why the fuck did you turn into a Catholic priest? And he basically looked at me and said, because my old life was a set of these complications, and my new life as a Catholic priest, it's these complications. What it is was these complications were easier for me to deal with than those complications. So there are consequences. There's consequences to everyone's choices.
That is an easy way of breaking it down and saying it. There are two sets of consequences, and I chose these.
I mean, if you can deal with those consequences, fine, but that's your choice. And if you do something really fucked up, yes, you're going to suffer for it. You can live with that. That's your own fucking. Which is like the Cole Turner thing, the shooter from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. How Trump and the administration deal with that is going to have consequences. Those consequences are not going to end well for them. They keep doing the fuck that they're doing. Not that they care about the consequences, but those consequences are eventually going to catch up, and are eventually going to be problematic, and are eventually going to put them into a position where they have to take accountability. A recent report was released today. Numerous White House staffers are basically saying, under anonymous pretenses being interviewed, basically saying, we're fucked and we're just trying to find a way to get out. They know that ship is sinking, and it's sinking fast. And if they don't get out, they're going to get prosecuted. Watching Bremer or whatever, the labor secretary, who was constantly drunk, and fucking numerous members of the labor secretary of labor office and everything, she resigned before she could be held accountable for her bullshit. That doesn't. Mm-hmm. Well, there won't be more consequences. So yeah, Sarah, be petty. Be a little petty.
I'd also like to point out that when given a choice and refusing to make that choice, or when you are unable to take action or refuse to take action, those are still making choices, and those will also have consequences.
Yeah, that's true.
You're something of a philosopher, aren't you? I like it. No, you're 100% on that.
Kirsten, you're just being arbitrary on purpose.
Now, this is a situation I've already taken care of. It was his half of the state tax returns, and I was considering going and getting it all in singles and leaving it in front of his bedroom door.
Now that would have been definitely petty.
Look, legal tender is legal tender. If you give it to him in stripper money, that's your choice.
Stripper money is better. Give it to him in like dimes and quarters.
Oh, yeah, get that all in pennies.
Oh shit! No, I'm not getting
Mason jar
$341 in
of beer.
pennies. Imagine how happy that would be.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that would weigh too much. But Brandon, what are you willing to do, whether you think it works or not anymore?
My initial answer was nothing. I thought, why would I keep doing something if it doesn't work? But then I thought about kind of similar to what Onyx Rose was saying, loving people even though it doesn't seem to be working, it isn't always reciprocated. Being kind of this on the same lines, being kind to others even though it may not get you anywhere.
May not get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. There's a whole thing about killing shit with kindness. If you kill it with kindness, then I don't know that works, but I mean it has an effect.
There's a difference between being nice and being kind. Being kind is definitely, I don't know. It's something that you give. Being nice can be something that's just a receipt as well. But giving kindness is altruistic. Is that the right word? I don't know. Altruistic.
I think altruism. There was a person who once tried to tell me that altruism was completely dead in the world, and I sort of was like, no.
No.
Was it Joey on Friends?
Hey, how you doing?
Did you remember that? Do you remember that episode? Did you ever watch that episode or anything? That Phoebe
No,
and
now
Joey.
I'm going to ask you to describe it.
Phoebe and Joey had this argument that Phoebe said something about altruism, and Joey said altruism doesn't exist. You can't do anything just out of complete kindness. And she was trying to prove him wrong, and the whole episode she was trying to do things like, she said, I just let that bee sting me. And he was like, after they sting you, they die, right? She's like, oh, no.
That's kind of funny. I have never seen a Friends episode, but I'm sure the what is meant behind it is on point. But I do think you can be kind without getting anything in respect or anything in return. Well, maybe not, because in your mind you're feeling, well, I did a good thing. So,
well, that's one thing. That's one thing. It was the argument was, well, even you're kind, you don't get anything tangible in return, but you feel good about yourself, and that is in itself a reward. So,
right.
There's that argument.
So I actually have a story about that. I was a Georgia Tech student, and so when you come down 75 to get off at North Avenue, because that's where Georgia Tech is, for a long time, my dorm was Tanzen Hall. I lived in the Techwood dorms before that, but Tanzen Hall was right there on the corner. And so at that exit for years was a guy named Bob, who was a person of color who stood there at the corner of the off ramp with a sign. And on the sign it said, I need money for a beer. Why lie?
Yes.
So there were a handful of times I would pull into the dorms. I would run over to the BP station, which was on the other corner, cross the bridge over the highway, grab a 6-pack of Miller Lite for $5, because that's how much a 6-pack of Miller Lite cost back then. Walk it over. Here you go, Bob. Go home. And so my friends are like, you're just encouraging his bad behavior. I don't give a shit.
That's what he wants, you know?
Guy wants a beer. What the fuck? Why should people be denied that privilege? No, here you go. Here's a 6-pack. Go home.
Now, taking care of that, we should also look into further, like if he needed any other kind of help. But that's in the past.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you do. That happens or whatever. But yeah, sure, okay. Was I socially aware of what else was going on in his life? No. Should I have been? Sure, why not? But that's the thing that says I don't give a shit about, like back then, I don't give a shit what he does. He wanted something, and I showed kindness to achieve that result. Was I contributing to his ill health by him drinking a 6-pack of beer every time? I mean, maybe, sure. There are consequences for doing that, but
were you contributing to his happiness? Yes.
Yeah, true. Happiness? Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely. Onyx, what are you willing to do that you think might not even be doing anything anymore?
Oh, this is easily my writing. And, actually, it's my voice. I've been finding that my talking is a little bit more steady than my writing these days. So where I've kind of slipped into a little bit of a writer's block, I've been doing more lives that have just been kind of falling into my lap. So I feel like when I was younger, I did have a radio show. I was a DJ, and it felt comfortable to be the person behind the scenes, kind of spinning the tracks, doing deep dives, bringing people in through my musical journey, through my mind. And I was able to do that. This feels kind of the same way, and having lives and being able to sit down and kind of talk with people, y'all included. Thank you, Wendy, for bringing me into this group. It's just been such an experience. So I think that by just continuing to put in the minimal amount that I put in daily to reach out to people, to put a smile on people's face, to touch someone with a kind word, that's what I'll continue to do.
Well, I mean, I think that's crucial. I think that's important. I certainly agree with that point. So we're at the end of the show. So I do want to announce to everybody that Wednesday night, we're going to do a live session at 8:00, which will be gamer night. We'll rotate. So this Wednesday night, it's Jackbox games. Has everyone here played Jackbox before? Onyx, have you played Jackbox before?
I did play once, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so I'll tee this up, Brandon. It's very easy. So basically what we do is we start the Jackbox game, and then you join via your phone. So you go to the Jackbox link on your phone, and that's how you interact with the game. So we can broadcast the screen and stream the screen up, and then everybody can log into the web interface, the Jackbox web interface, and play the game and interact. And it's a blast. I will tell you that the favorites in this house are Survive the Internet, which is a social experiment where people try to come up with insane responses to what other people say. Fibbage, which is a trivia game where you have to convince people that your answers to the question are true, and you get points for that. It's kind of fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. The trivia game Murder Mystery Hotel, which is a trivia game where people try to beat each other answering trivia questions. And then a personal favorite, Split the Room, which is try to voice an opinion that not everybody in the room will agree with, but that somebody else will agree with. And then there's pointing for that. So
that seems like it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be one of those or two of those on Wednesday night at 8:00. But Astrid Belladonna has agreed to participate in the activity, and so that should be very exciting.
Are you streaming the link? Are you
Oh,
pushing it out?
yes, I will be streaming.
I mean, where are you pushing it though? Like, how would I get to it?
Oh, I'll put up a meet meeting,
Okay.
and then I'll basically start a gamer channel in our paid subscriber space or whatever, and then that gamer channel, we're gonna do it tonight. Here's what we're gonna do, and who wants to get in on this or not. And so that will be completely democratically decided. It won't be just arbitrarily, we're going to do this. And we'll see how far it goes. So now we're going to close the meeting. So who wants to go first with their okay, right? So and then gracefully come off. And I will
indeed. Okay,
yes.
Thank you, everybody. First of all, I'm going live at 3 with Will Fullwood from Contraband Wagon, if y'all know him. So y'all check me out then, 3 o'clock. No trash, no transphobia, no racism, no ableism, no sexism, no homophobia, no Islamophobia, no xenophobia, land back, reparations, no borders, fuck Trump, and fuck ICE. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Onyx, always. Brandon?
Well, this is a very full week for me. Today I'm going on with Onyx Rose later, 4 p.m. Central, I think. And tomorrow with Sturge, Tuesdays with 2Ks, Wednesday with KR Byers, Thursday with Margaret Williams.
Nice.
And then I'm talking to the owner of, it's called Hula Hoop. It's a sip and shop vintage clothing store, queer-owned shop in Kansas City. And I'm going to go to that shop and go live and talk to her and show what the shop is and that kind of thing. So I don't know exactly when that'll be, but the last email I sent, I asked if Saturday evening would be okay, because they're only open the first weekend of the month. They just opened a new location, but they close at 5, so I was going to see if I could go right after they close, and so we won't be distracted by customers and stuff like that. So
I will be sure, if you do that, to post it in a story and a news digest. I already do that already with any of your new content on the daily digest. Usually, basically you, Jeff Anderson, the Sweaty Spice Dude, Wendy Parker, and then either a Sarah post or a Kira post gets dumped into the morning digest, usually. And so if you post it, I will definitely get that into a digest so that readers can read.
yeah, like I said, I don't know exactly when it'll be, because I need to coordinate that with the owner, and my last one was I proposed Saturday evening. So hopefully if anybody's around at that time, I'd love to have some viewers there during that time.
Giving you viewers is not a problem.
But I'll let you know sometime whenever I find it out. I'll let everybody else know.
Perfect. Thank you, Brandon, as always.
All right. Bye.
Kirsten.
I don't really have anything much to say. Well, how about this? I'll say this. I love you both very much. I look forward to doing this again with both of you. I'm totally here.
Well, now that everybody knows who the throuple is, I'm less I'm less burdened by the fact that not that I felt like, okay, I'm just going to say amongst the paid readers of the publication, pretty sure everybody knew who the fuck Kirsten and Isabella were, but I don't want to make assumptions. So Sarah, I'll let you and Kirsten gracefully come off of the session before I close. So final word, Sarah.
I'm supposed to do my broadcast with Minx tonight at 9 p.m. We've been doing gaming for the past few weeks. This will be the first time I'm broadcasting again for the past 2 weeks. I didn't do anything last week, and obviously I didn't do anything the week before. Yeah, that's all I've got coming up.
All right, well, goodbye to you both. So here is where the breath lands. 62% of this country has finally stopped swallowing the lie. And the cornered shit gibbon in the Oval Office responds by flinging sovereign nations at a wall like a toddler with a globe. The DOJ is coming for libraries while gas pumps are bleeding families dry. This is not a coincidence. It's the mathematics of a dying empire that's thrashing itself apart. But listen to what I'm telling you. The whales in the Pacific are about to become actual people. A teacher in a county in Illinois hasn't removed the book she was told to. Beltane came and went, and it was pleasant, and the weather is nice. And this is what we need. Jericho Brown and Carl Phillips built forums that hold survival without pretending that it redeems anything. And Sarah Waters reminds us that lies require work. The truth just requires saying. So eat, drink, and be merry. Exhale longer than you inhale. Text someone you love. The earth beneath your feet has carried heavier than this administration's whole riding carnival is ever going to. And she will carry. Not by holding the weight, but by letting it move through you like a spring snow melt finding a river. You're all still here. Act like it. Be like it. I love you all and be safe. Do good things.